Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. My name's Becs. I'm now a final year medical student studying in the UK. It's been a long time since I recorded a video about medical school. When I was studying and revising for finals, it got to a point where I was so tired and I was having to put every single bit of energy that I had into revising and preparing for OSCEs. I just said I have a little bit of energy left and I need to put that energy into exams, not YouTube. And I'm so glad that I did because it paid off, and I'm happy to say that I passed my medical school finals first time. A lot has happened since I posted. As I said at the beginning of the vlog, I'm now in my final year at medical school, and like I said yesterday, I was just flicking through some of my old vlogs from second year and third year, and I just feel like we're at the finish line now. I'm just so grateful that I made it to this stage. I'll just give you a very brief kind of update on what's been happening. So I sat finals in July. Was it July? June, July. We had to wait about 3 weeks or a month to get our results. I got the results. I went to Australia for 2.5 weeks, which was like a life-changing experience for me. It was the first time in many years where I finally felt at peace, completely at peace. And I think it's because I was surrounded by animals and nature, and that's the environment where I feel the most at home. And it just felt like I was coming home somehow. It was the weirdest feeling. And then I had an 8-week elective period where I spent my time at a GP practice, which was around 10-15 minutes from my house, where I got to run my own clinics and see patients, come up with management plans. And it was amazing because the GP gave me about half an hour with patients, so I was able to kind of look at mental health, physical health. I always believe in that mind, body, soul connection, so I was able to kind of tap into all of that and do these consultations from more of a holistic approach, and I loved it, absolutely loved it. And then I started in Gloucester about 3 weeks ago, and I'm now on neuro. But this year is not really about learning neuro or learning endocrine or whatever. It's about that transition between being a medical student and being an F1 doctor. So today, it's Monday, it's only 8:30 AM. I'm going in later on for an on-call shift with my F1 mentor. So I'm going to be starting at 5 PM and then finishing at 9 PM tonight. And this is optional. This is me, I'm basically saying I know what it's like to be an F1 on the wards. I've been doing the ward round independently. I've been writing up the notes. I've been, trying to assist the team as much as possible. But I want to be well equipped to start F1. And that basically means that I want to understand what it takes to do an on-call, whether that be in AMU, ED, on the wards, so that when I qualify and start work and I start my very first on-call shift, I know what to do. So this is why I'm kind of volunteering and saying, I know it's more tricky to do evening shifts and night shifts, but I want to understand the job now, because I don't want to get to F1 and feel like I'm overwhelmed and I don't know what I'm doing. The difficulty is at the moment with the placement is the commute. So I live in Bristol and the hospital is Gloucester, and depending on what time I leave, it can take anywhere between 50 minutes and an hour and 15 minutes to get there. So traveling that much every single day definitely adds a level of difficulty to the placement. But on a normal day I would be getting up at 4:45 to leave early to miss the traffic, and I get to the gym and then go on placement. So welcome back, and apologies again for being gone for so long. Thank you very much for being here. Yeah, I'll just try and show you as much as I can. Welcome back. I've been trying to keep up with my gym routine whilst being in Gloucester. Just boiled some eggs. I've got those in my bag for after the spin class. And then I'll show you what I've been ordering. I'm using a company at the moment called Prep Kitchen. and it's basically protein and vegetables most of the time with a little bit of starchy carbs, and you just put these in the microwave for 4 minutes. My friend also got me this amazing slow cooker, so 2 or 3 nights a week I'll use this, and I'll make, for example, chicken soup with noodles, and then, you know, on the rest of the days I'll have one of these, and then typically at lunch on a day shift I'll bring a salad and then just add some protein, whether that be some prawns or tuna, and then I try and eat fruit every single day as well. And then in the morning I'll have eggs and then some yogurt with some blueberries.
Sunset slow, hey, you know you should stay for the night. What you think? One more drink while we sit by the bonfire. 'Cause this might be love. It's a feeling that I can't get rid of. So just take my hand, 'cause you know I don't wanna play pretend. Stay with me, take a chance, baby, roll the dice. Gotta give me some love, 'cause when I'm with you I'm in paradise.
Make some coffee as well. It's only 2:15 and I don't have to be there until 5, but I'm going to go to the library before and just do some studying, or I might go onto the ward and just see if they need any help. Put some prawns on top. Let's put a bit of dressing. Oh, and then a bit carried away. And then I just put the lid on and give it a shake. Check that out. There we go. I'm meant to be in Gloucester in 40 minutes, but yeah, basically haven't moved for about 15 minutes now. This is what I'm saying about the commute, doing this every day. I mean, I'm not doing this every day because I'm leaving at like 5 AM and I miss all of this, and this is why I get up so early. Because imagine sitting in this amount of traffic every single day. So I headed straight to the ward, and one of the doctors asked me to go and take some bloods. So this is the equipment that we use. This is the blood trolley. So in the first drawer you have all the cannulas, then the butterfly needles. I was very, very happy because I'm not always successful at getting bloods from patients, but on this occasion I was. So yeah, I was very, very grateful that I didn't have to stab the patient twice. We then headed down to AMU, and it was a very exciting and chaotic shift, which I'll talk to you about in a second. So it's 10 o'clock. I'm just about to jump in the car and I'll let you know how it all went. Clara's going crazy. Oh, my back is hurting. So, I'm home. It's 11:15 in the evening. As you can see, my lunch or my dinner is untouched because I didn't have time to eat. So I'm gonna that was by far the best experience that I've had in 5th year so far. I learned so much and I was able to get involved with so many different things. I obviously can't give you patient specific information, but I can tell you a little bit about what happens when you're an F1 and you're covering AMU. So I met my F1 mentor on neuro when I got there, and I said, is there anything else to do on the wards? And there were some bloods to be taken, so I did that successfully, which I was very happy about. And then we went straight down to AMU. Typically in AMU, the F1 gets called if a nurse is perhaps concerned that a patient's temperature has increased, or if they need fluids prescribing or new medication. But generally it's because they're concerned about a patient because their new score is elevated. So it's the F1's job then to kind of review the patient, do an A to E assessment, which is airway, breathing, circulation, disability and exposure, and then you come up with a management plan, you type up the notes. But during that time, because you're carrying a bleep, and that bleep can go off at any time with other jobs that need to be done, it can also go off if there's a resus call, which means that a patient has gone into cardiac arrest in the hospital, and then you have to attend that. So there's a lot going on. And my F1 is, bearing in mind that she's only been in the job since August, is incredible, and she's so knowledgeable, and like I said, I learned so much tonight. So like I said, I can't give you specific patient information, but what you typically see in terms of the most common conditions in ED or AMU are things like DKA, so diabetic ketoacidosis, or infections, which then cause confusion, query sepsis cases. And it's just a case of making sure that you don't miss anything when you do the ATE. But tonight I got the opportunity to take a full history. I met the patient's family and tried to understand what was the cause of this patient's symptoms. And then I did the ATE assessment, went back to my F1, presented the case, came up with a management, prescribed some fluids. So it was really interesting to see what was required from, you know, from a perspective of, okay, F1 on AMU cover, because it's very different to just working on AMU, and you are getting called in so many different directions, and it's a case of knowing how to prioritize, because if you've got 20 jobs to do, and some of the jobs are, for example, discharge letters, which can wait, versus somebody who is potentially, you know, spiking a fever and they need immediate attention because you're thinking sepsis, for example, then obviously that's going to come first. So when you're getting bombarded with all of these bleeps and jobs, you need to know, okay, this is going to be potentially you know, life-threatening or just worrying, then that's what you need to focus on first. But we were busy at one point just kind of discussing a patient, and then all of a sudden the resus call went off and we just left everything behind. And this was my first experience going to a resus. So you basically just leave what you're doing, and then you don't run, but you head very quickly to the ward, to the bay where the resus is. And we got there probably about 3 minutes after the bleep went off saying that there's a resus, and there were probably already about 20 people there. And it just goes to show how efficient doctors and nurses and staff are in the NHS at just getting to these cardiac arrests. I just thought it was just incredible. So we got there, and then we were told to leave because there were too many people already there, which I mean, if they needed help, I would have been more than happy to help in any which way I could, but it wasn't necessary at that stage. And then when I was doing some cannulas on another patient, I wasn't with my F1 anymore, and I could hear that there were some more resus calls going on. So I think there was 6 in total, and I was there from about 4 until 10 maybe. So yeah, quite a lot. But it's obviously it's a terrible event, and you know, it's important for us to understand as future F1 doctors what is expected of you in that situation. And ultimately that has to be the priority. You just leave everything and just go. But I really enjoyed tonight, honestly. There's something about being in a chaotic environment for me where I really thrive, and I think maybe it's because I grew up in a very chaotic environment as a kid and as a teenager, and maybe that's just where I feel the most at home, because chaos is just normal for me. You know, I don't know, but when I'm at GP sometimes and I'm kind of sat there for 8 or 9 hours, although I love the interactions with patients, I just find myself getting quite restless and I get itchy feet. Whereas in ED or in AMU, you're just constantly running around thinking about, okay, I need to go and take bloods here, and okay, now I need to go and do a cannula, and now I need to take a history, and all my bleeps going. And that was the experience tonight. And although it's stressful, I mean, it wasn't that stressful for me because I was just helping out. I can see that as a newly qualified doctor, when you have that bleep and there's so much going on, it can be very stressful. And especially when it's evening time, obviously you're more tired. So, but it gave me really good insight into what to expect, and I can't wait just to start as an F1. And I know that I still have so much to learn, but the feeling that you get when you go and see a patient who is unwell and their whole family is there, and you can just try to be as kind as possible and reassure them that they're in good hands, and you know, just update them as to what you're doing for them. And I don't know, there's just something so satisfying about that. And I think in ED and AMU, because things need to be implemented quickly, if you were to give fluids in that moment, you can check on the patient an hour later and you're seeing the result of that, you know, of that, what's the word I'm looking for? Of that action, you know what I mean. I'm tired, I can't find the right words. So yeah, I really, really appreciate the help that I got from my mentor. So obviously I can't go into detail about patient cases that we saw, but yeah, I'm just glad that I got to experience that, and it was definitely worth the journey to Gloucester. And even if it's a late one tonight, tomorrow I have a day at home with Clara, where we have one day off a week where we do what the university call admin and reflections. So I'm gonna have quite a lot of stuff to reflect on tomorrow and to write about. But overall, yeah, really, really, really enjoyed it. But on Wednesday I'll be going back on the wards at 9 o'clock in the morning until around 3, and then we have a prescribing tutorial from 3 until 5. So I'll make it happen. I will vlog again on Wednesday. Again, I can't take you on the wards, but I can just give you a bit of a rundown on, okay, as a 5th year or as a final year, this is what you do and this is how things work. Maybe it will be useful if you're looking to go to med school, or if you're going to be a final year medical student soon. But it's such a good feeling, and I feel confident talking to patients and talking to families. I just need a little bit more help sometimes when it comes to management plans, because I think as a final year medical student, if a person has, you know, a fast heart rate and a temperature, and is looking a little bit dry and it's not really peed that much and is not drinking that much, then I always think, oh, do they have sepsis? Do I need to activate the sepsis 6 protocol? But sometimes it's just because they have an infection, and as long as they're stable, so their blood pressure is stable, for example, then it's fine. You can just give paracetamol and monitor. But I think I'm still in that mindset of I don't want to miss anything, and how do you know if you need to call a senior? But I think I will get there. I think the more shifts like this I do, the more I'll be able to recognize, you know, the patterns, and making sure that I'll be able to spot those things quickly. So thank you very much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed the video. I know that you understand that I obviously can't take you on the wards because, yeah, that would just be the end to my career before we've even started. But I hope at least just by talking you through, hello Clara, what I've been doing, it's helpful and interesting. But yeah, if you want to have a look at DKA, that's a really interesting condition, diabetic ketoacidosis. So it's basically because of the lack of insulin in the body, your cells can't absorb glucose, and therefore your body starts to panic. You release ketones, which are acidic, and then your kidneys release bicarb to try to kind of balance out the acid. So you'd have high ketones, high glucose, and then bicarb on the VBG or ABG, and then you normally give insulin, so a fixed rate insulin and fluids, and then you monitor potassium. But it's a really interesting condition normally, which affects diabetics, so people who have diabetes type 1 mostly. I don't think you can get it in diabetes type 2, but yeah, it's an interesting one to look at if you're interested in medicine, and it's one that presents quite a lot in ED and AMU. Anyway, I'm going to stop rambling. I'm going to drink my tea. I feel quite wired and quite like and I think it's because when you're in that situation where there's so much going on, obviously you feel all of that adrenaline yourself as well. So yeah, I'm gonna eat, put some relaxing music on, put my pajamas on, and then look forward to Clara waking me up tomorrow at 5 AM for her breakfast. Clara's my cat, by the way. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.